Night Court Season 3, Episode 6, aired Tuesday, January 21st on NBC and showcased plenty of sparks between John Larroquette's and Wendy Malick's characters. The two have a complicated dynamic, as Dan was originally a part of Julianne's revenge plan when she first appeared in the series. However, the Jake-out heavily implies their lingering feelings for each other by throwing a third and fourth party into the mix. Julianne brings her boyfriend, Rodrigo, to court, which prompts Dan to fake a relationship of his own. The episode's final moments reveal that Rodrigo was hired to play the part, although Julianne remains unaware that Dan knows the truth. Guest star Gilles Marini, who portrays her phony partner, shares that his character showcases the push and pull between them. While they often display feelings of cynicism, Marini believes that Julianne and Dan are meant for each other. Gilles Marini: "I'm going to have to say my mom was, but I've watched it. Of course, I watched it. I looked at the tones from then and the comedy that was very specific to that time, and the comedy that we have now. It's more a new boot than a reboot, I've got to say, because it's so different in a way, but the premise is the same. I love the people who are part of this show. I'm talking about from the makeup and hair, from the executive producers to anyone. I rarely go to a place where everybody together is having a great time. We don't want to leave. We don't want to go home. It's amazing. I'm really appreciative that I was part of this show for a bit." Gilles Marini, yeah. Luckily, Wendy Malick now plays Julianne on the show, was one of the leads in Hot in Cleveland with Betty White, and that was such an amazing show. I worked on Hot in Cleveland and I met Wendy Malick there 15 years ago. She's one of those very special human beings in Hollywood. Wendy Malick is one of the most amazing women I've worked with since the beginning of my career." Gilles Marini: "My character is able to truly bring the spark between them by doing the absolute opposite, and it's kind of cool. I've got to say the truth. When John got to set for the first time, he's a giant man, right? He's like, maybe 6'5". I was like, hi, nice to meet you. My mom loves you," without telling him, of course. Laughs, but an absolute blessing to have been next to these people. Those are little memories that you want to cherish, and John is such an intellectual. I really like the man, for sure." Gilles Marini: "They are meant for each other with that very cynical way of talking to each other. This weird tone between them is on a bit of an opposite side, but they still end up with a lot of love. You can see this push and pull, and it's kind of interesting, and self-deprecating, and very smart. You've got to be on your toes sometimes to listen to exactly the layers of John and Wendy just by the way they look at each other. You can tell that it has to be a relationship, and that's what I felt the entire time. As much as they want to pull away from each other, they absolutely love each other, I think." Gilles Marini: "I was thinking of that, and I was thinking of maybe using Rodrigo for something else that helps her in court and doesn't help John. There are a lot of things that can happen because we know a little bit about Rodrigo, but let's see how much he can actually bring to the table if there is something else coming up, of course. Maybe Julianne can use Rodrigo to different means that you haven't seen yet, and I think that could be a good thing to play." Enjoy Screen Rant's primetime coverage? Click below to sign up for our weekly Network TV newsletter. Make sure to check Network TV in your preferences, and get the inside scoop from actors and showrunners on your favorite series. About Night Court Season 3. Abby Stone follows in the footsteps of her revered late father. In her quest to bring order and dignity to the court and reign in its colorful crew of oddballs, Abby enlists former Night Court District Attorney Dan Fielding, John Larroquette, to serve as the court's public defender. Still exceedingly self-confident, Fielding must adjust to a new boss and a new job, defending the downtrodden. And, beneath his arrogant demeanor, there is an empathetic side to Fielding that Abby is determined to unearth.